sway the.
Okay.
But,
Welcome back. We're live at Sweet Science Boxing and MMA here in Hawthorne, California. I am Chris, your boxing enthusiast. With me, as always, is professional boxing coach and insider, creator, owner of Sweet Science Boxing and MMA and the Sweet Science brand, our host and my very good friend, Coach Marco Trejo. Welcome back, Coach.
Good to be back. Thanks for the amazing introduction, as always. It's hard to follow that up, but I do appreciate the intro.
Of course, man.
Makes me feel special.
I appreciate the airtime.
And today's an early edition of our podcast.
Point. Yeah.
It normally comes on at 7 p.m., but I'm leaving the country for a few days. I hope I come back.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. So next week I'm gonna have to special guest host it.
Yeah. I'm gonna get a stand-in for you. Somebody that looks like me. They might be a little bit. They might be a bigger version of me.
I'll just have them turn their back to the camera.
Okay, that'll work. They won't know. They won't tell the difference.
Yeah.
So anyhow, I want to introduce our guest for today. Very special person, a very involved person in boxing, Nancy Rodriguez from the WBC. You are the PR director for WBC and their community outreach director as well.
Yes.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you for rescheduling after I was a little bit sick last week. But
It happens.
Yeah. It happens. And you brought, look at the WBC belt.
Yes.
It's on display.
It's the very prestigious silver belt, silver championship.
Belt. I'm sure we'll have plenty of time to talk about the silver championship.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah,
wow.
Don't worry
Well,
about
we're
it.
honored.
Thank you for coming.
Yeah, we're honored to have you and the belt here.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Awesome.
Yeah, I held the belt for maybe 10 minutes before the show started. So if we're starting late, it's my fault. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, and it's got some good weight to it,
It has
right?
a lot of weight. I'm surprised.
Yeah.
Now, I was surprised by the amount of weight because when you see the fighters come to the ring and they've got like the 5 belts on or every belt that they've ever won, that's got to be, they're putting in work.
You saw Broner last night walked in with like 3 or 4 of them.
Oh,
yeah. Definitely.
Yeah, but yeah, they are, and the green one has always had something special. I have respect for all the belts, I really do, but something about the green and gold, or green and silver today.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful belt.
Well, I think that's kind of the general consensus in boxing and with all the fans, at least what I've seen in the last several years, is the green belt is the most coveted belt of all the belts and the most
prestigious.
Yeah, the most prestigious and most desirable, the most respected.
Yeah.
I think it also has some of the best champions.
Yeah, that probably has a lot to do with it.
I mean, you see the best fighting the best. Like we have Gary Russell and Jojo Diaz. I mean, you're getting the best versus the best versus the best versus I don't know, rank 15. 16.
Exactly.
20.
That's coming up May 19th, right?
May
Gary
19th.
Russell Jr. and JoJo Diaz.
In Maryland,
That'll be a good one.
Yeah,
and JoJo wants it, and it's not going to be an easy fight. It's going to be his toughest fight.
Well, let's jump right into that because that was going to be one of the topics I wanted to talk about today. But the JoJo Diaz fight versus Gary Russell. What do you think about that as far as how Diaz matches up with Russell?
I think it's perfect for JoJo at this point in time. Especially Gary isn't an active fighter. Think about it.
I made that same comment.
He said the exact same thing.
I mean, I almost want to say. I don't know what that was.
Not sure. I think it was from outside.
Okay. I almost want to say. Did you guys see Cuellar last night?
Yeah.
The ring rust. I don't know if we're gonna get the best Gary Russell that night, and I'm not taking anything away from JoJo because they're both great fighters. But Gary Russell does stay active, and he is very fast, which is something that JoJo's going to have to keep up with, and he's had a hard time with fighters that put pressure on him. But, I mean, I can't make a prediction, obviously, but I do think JoJo has a good chance to become the new WBC featherweight champion.
Yeah.
And you guys didn't talk before the podcast because she said the exact same.
I said the same thing. It's hard to shake at Gary Russell. He's just not very active. JoJo Diaz has a lot of pedigree. I mean, he's undefeated, right?
Yes.
He's a former Olympian.
Mm-hmm.
So it's, he's been in against some of the world's best competition at the amateur level.
Right.
And Gary Russell, even before this, it's like he takes a year off between every fight. It's got to be so challenging.
And as you get older, age becomes a factor. It's like
Yeah.
Brandon Rios is one of my greatest friends, and he used to have such a hard time making weight. We were in New York, and he had to make 135. I don't know if you guys remember when he lost the title, and he lost the title, and he looked dead on Friday.
Yeah.
But he came back Saturday and TKO against John Murray. But can he do that now? No. Age is a factor, and Gary Russell cannot keep staying inactive.
Yeah, it's hard for spectators to understand too. Is this that 1 year at some point will make a difference? You just don't know if it's this fight or maybe the next one or the one after.
Exactly.
At some point, that 1 year off, he's going to come back and not look like Gary Russell Jr. that we're accustomed to seeing. Now, he may come back and look sharp and on point in this fight and then take a year off and maybe next year, but as he gets older, at some point it's going to drop off, right? So it's...
Yeah, and when he won the title against Johnny Gonzalez, we didn't get the best Johnny. We got an older Johnny. We got a Johnny on his way out. So who has been Gary's competition?
Yeah.
Okay, has he had somebody like JoJo?
Yeah, that's true.
You know, so regardless, I think it'll be a great fight. But as far as, what do you think? Do you think it'll end in
I
KO?
think that's a great matchup. I don't know if we're gonna see a KO, but Diaz will have to deal with the speed.
Yeah, definitely.
Because Gary's really fast. But you bring up a good point that that long layoff from the ring. As a coach, I try to keep the fighters active. When somebody's out of the gym, when they come back, they look terrible. You know, and boxing is such where you can learn certain things, but you have to stay in the gym to be in your tip-top shape. If you leave the gym, you come back 2, 3, 4, 5 months later, you're starting from zero again. You know, as far as your conditioning, you know, and on that level, it can go both ways. You know, maybe it heals up some injuries and
Rejuvenates you.
Yeah, exactly. So you can rest is good, you know, but at what age and however many fights Gary's had, we'll see. I think you guys might be onto something there. So.
Yeah, we
But
don't know if he's staying active in the gym or not.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
true.
if he's been sparring
Yeah,
and
so
training.
it's hard for us to tell,
you
right?
know?
It's hard to make a prediction on that.
Yeah.
But
I'm looking forward to it. I definitely. I mean, I
am too.
Yeah, JoJo.
I think that's gonna be a great fight.
Yeah. That should be interesting.
Yeah.
The number of other fights this weekend.
But you missed a huge point.
What's that?
We have Al Heyman working with Oscar.
Oh,
They're co-promoting.
that's true.
And to me, that's already a knockout because that's the beginning of maybe great matchups coming.
Yeah, there's a lot of boxing politics. You can even see on Showtime last night in the post-fight interviews as they interview the fighters, and this comes up a lot. They kind of say, well, there's some promotional problems or some matchup problems here. So who do you want to fight in the event that you can't fight the next best fighter in the division? Which has got to be frustrating for boxing fans to hear.
Yeah,
right?
and that's why I respect this fight so much because, like I said in the beginning, it's the best versus the best. It doesn't matter who your promoter is. They're making it happen. And I think they have to because promoters are they're all in some problems right now.
Yeah.
You can't have all the champions and not have them fight each other.
Well, for years, for years, that's kind of the way the promoters operate. You know, they keep their fighters to themselves. They build up their own champions and they pass the belt around within their organization. And it's good to see promoters, reaching across the table and putting their fighters together because it's actually pretty rare. I don't think fans realize how rare that is.
I don't think fans realize how much they have to appreciate this fight in order for more to happen.
Yeah, that's true.
You know?
So buy some tickets,
Watch
watch it on TV.
Buy it, watch it, promote it, promote it because that's where they're going to say, hey, this worked out. Let's do it again.
Yeah, a lot of times the good fights like that maybe fly under the radar a little bit because people get that when you have two promotional entities come together, it's normally for mega bucks, right? The two biggest superstars. That's your Conor McGregor's, your Manny Pacquiao, Floyd Mayweather.
Yeah, they only want to talk if they're making.
Yeah, like it's because you can't not do it, right? And I think that we miss out on a lot of fights as a fan. You miss out on a lot of fights because they're not those type of fights, and so harder for promoters to.
Well, for example, the World Boxing Super Series. I wanted to watch it so bad on TV,
Yeah.
but I was watching it on my phone.
We have I brought that up a few times where coming into the podcast we talked about World Boxing Super Series. You have to like find someone live streaming it on Facebook. If it's on Sky Sport at all,
Yeah.
you're like
Yeah.
out of luck.
Yeah.
Like
And like the final fight, Garcia versus or Usyk versus Garcia, whatever it is. Please tell me they're gonna show it because I want to see that fight so
Yeah.
bad.
yeah, well, that was actually just postponed, right? Because of
Yeah.
an injury. Yeah. So Usyk suffered an injury to his shoulder.
I
He's
don't
the
think he did.
He's the WBC champion, right?
I think it was too soon for
Oh,
them
really?
to fight because I had already heard before that they were going to postpone it.
Oh, okay.
I think it's the same thing as Terrence Crawford. You know how his was postponed? It was
Yeah.
supposed to be, what, in April, I think?
Yeah, and then they pushed it to
Yeah,
June, right?
I think it's just the timing of the ESPN app. And with the World Boxing Series, I think it's just the timing of everything and trying to get Showtime to televise it,
Yeah.
honestly. And I think they should.
I think the ESPN app is something that we haven't talked about actually on the podcast. So the fact that ESPN is now doing sort of that subscription-based service app, I think they have a
Like
contract for
WWE.
Yeah, so they have a contract for 12 fights this year that are going to run through ESPN, including Terrence Crawford and Jeff Horn, I
Yes.
believe. So if you don't have ESPN app, you can't watch those fights.
Wow.
Or Pacquiao, Matisse.
Yeah, Pacquiao Matisse
Oh, wow.
in June also is another one.
Well, I guess I'm gonna have to download the app.
$5 a month.
$5 a month, man.
That's not bad.
I
To
know,
watch
but,
boxing
but
and
the
good
problem
fights,
is,
that's
like,
worth
you
it.
have to have the HBO app, you have to have the Showtime app, you have to have the ESPN app, you have to have I don't even know how you get Sky Sports still. Even I
Yeah.
don't know, I'm not aware of it. I think you can't even download their app in this region to to
Yeah.
allow you to do it.
You're right.
Yeah.
And Al
Still worth
Heyman
it.
is getting really,
Still worth
really
it.
smart with his, like you said, live streaming it. I had a little problem last night, so I wasn't able to watch the fights at home.
Okay.
So I was with Marisela Cornejo. We were at Starbucks, and I have the Showtime app, so I was watching it, and she was live streaming it. They kept on blocking it until they blocked her
Oh.
live. And you know who does that? UFC.
Yeah.
UFC
I
does
believe
that.
it.
HBO hasn't caught on to that yet. I don't know how they do it,
Yeah.
but they're doing it, and that's going to help people just buy
Yeah.
the subscription for Showtime or anything.
Well, I think as long as boxing is available in whatever apps or media, and everybody's got a smartphone.
Yeah.
So now you can't miss a fight.
True. I mean, the thing is, if Sky Sport had a way for me to watch it here legitimately, I would do it.
Yeah.
They don't.
Because you love watching the fights in the UK.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
those were some good fights that happened.
Oh, yeah.
This weekend even.
Yeah.
Carl Frampton, Nonito Donaire, Amir Khan, and Phil LaGreco. Although that one was,
Short.
40
yeah,
seconds.
yeah,
And in the UK, you know how we have here, what is it, like 8 fights or so?
Mm-hmm.
They have so many fights. They're there all day, and the fans are there all day.
Oh, on their cards.
Yes.
No way.
I want to say they have at least 15 or
I don't
It's
know.
like an amateur show.
But like, yeah,
They're
they
there
have
all day.
You can tell their fans are so energetic in comparison to.
I wanted to mention something about the fights over there versus the fights over here, because even after the Vargas Broner fight, and then you get Broner talking trash, and it's just the way that he carries himself in the ring. I was gonna say, even the trash talking over there is, to me, seems better. It's like managed
It's
better.
true.
It's more, it's more.
It's classy.
Even
It's
the trash.
classy trash. talk.
Even the trash talking is classy. Because I was thinking about when like Bellew he got out of the ring and he was talking to David Haye and yelling at him, saying, "Oh, I'm going to destroy you," and this and that. And I thought, man, it just seemed more authentic, and just it really got you swept up into the whole entertainment of those fights where. Or I don't know.
boxing needs that. Say it.
Yeah,
Boxing needs it bad.
Boxing needs it, but
Yeah.
just they put on some good fights over there, and the entertainment value is pretty high. I think over here, I think we have a lot of distractions, a lot of sports. As far as the
Yeah.
American viewer, we have a lot of sports to choose from. So boxing sometimes takes a back seat. Where we love boxing, we're in the sport.
Sure.
And it's hard for me sometimes to see, like, I think boxing's number one, but in America, it's not the number one sport,
Yeah.
But they have sports over there, like soccer, or what they call it over there, football.
Yeah.
They have sports.
It's huge,
and,
right?
And yeah, and I disagree with you. I really think that it's the type of show that they're putting in the UK. We're lacking. And I talked to Jesse Vargas on Friday, and I told him, I said, thank Broner for all your new fans.
Yeah, true. That's
I told him thank him because you got a whole bunch of new fans, and it's because of the way he was behaving. Not you, him.
Yeah.
And also Tom, Loeffler, his team. I'm really close to them. I said we need to, just spice up the press conferences. And I know boxing is a gentleman's sport, but we need that. We need the Mike Tysons. We need the Don Kings.
Yeah.
We need all that drama to bring boxing back and gain
does this
fans.
mean, not to put words in your mouth, but does this mean that the talking was like premeditated, the trash talking from Broner, like that was all pre-orchestrated a little bit?
I don't think so.
No way.
Definitely
Is he that
not.
smart?
You just watch him, right?
Definitely
You
not.
know that's him.
That's
Yeah.
amazing.
Jesse's
Is he
a great
smart enough
fan
to
of
do
me. I'm a friend of mine. And did you guys see his eyes?
Yeah.
After the fight?
No, during the press conference.
Yeah.
I have never seen him that
Oh,
upset.
he's furious. Right?
He was furious.
Really?
So I think that kind of helped him and motivated him. And he fought the first half of the fight. He fought so well. And I know it was that he was upset.
Well, let's talk about that fight. That's on the agenda as well to talk about.
Definitely.
We recap the fights all the time.
Okay.
And talk about future fights and previous fights, but that just happened last night. That was a great fight.
It became an entertaining fight after.
It did.
Yeah.
It did.
I
And
think-
Jesse's jab was right on point.
I was just gonna say that his jab was working. Anytime he got away from the jab, Broner would kind of insert himself a little bit.
Yeah.
Broner's claim was that he was landing the harder shots.
Mm-hmm.
It did go back and forth though. It did
Yeah.
go back and forth. I didn't see one kind of overtake the other. I like the right upper, right hook to the body. After the jab, Jesse kept landing it to the body because Broner keeps his hands up high. But I'm okay with the draw. How do you guys feel about that fight?
I also thought that the draw was fine. Now I do think that early on you could see even the fans were having just witnessed 2 early KOs and very dramatic sort of
Yeah.
KOs. The early rounds, maybe rounds 1 through 3, weren't especially competitive. They sort of look like the same problem that Adrian Broner falls into over and over, which is that he doesn't return fire, right? And it doesn't matter how good you are defensive, which he's actually not that great defensively.
Defensively?
No, he's not.
Like he carries himself, with the shoulder and everything, like he's Floyd Mayweather. He's actually not that great. He gets hit a lot,
Yeah.
right? And so you watch him for the first 3 rounds, and it just looked like, okay, he's stagnated, which is what happened against Mikey Garcia and everything else. But he came on after that. I got to give it to him. He came on, and he landed some serious shots. And I think for a number of rounds did land the more impactful shots. But when you come on that late, and you're 3 or 4 rounds in before you decide to sort of pick it up, it's always hard. Like you can't be that upset with the draw when you gave 4 rounds away in the beginning. Like you gave 4 rounds away. All you had to do was pick up 2 more anywhere in the whole rest of the fight. So it's like.
I think he was testing Jesse's power. And once he realized that he could handle the punches, that's when he said, okay, I have a game plan. I know what I'm going to do. But I'm also okay with the draw because Jesse did his work in the beginning and Broner did it in the end. But I don't know if I would want to see a rematch of this fight. I don't know if it would be entertaining.
Yeah, you
like
think it might
said.
not be as entertaining.
Yeah, I think they should fight other people, and then maybe in 2 or 3 fights fight each other again.
Yeah, I think it's hard because these are guys who, at this weight, neither of them are big knockout artists. It was clear that Adrian Broner had no problem taking the punches from Jesse Vargas. I think he took Jesse's punches a little bit better than Jesse took his. But there are some really interesting things. You guys mentioned that jab. The jab kind of disappeared for a few rounds.
Oh yeah,
there.
towards the middle.
Like right in the middle of the fight, he was so effective with the jab, and then the jab went away, and then Adrian Broner found a home for the right hand lead, and maybe for 3 straight rounds was just right hand lead after right hand lead with nothing stopping it before his coach finally told him, hey, stop getting hit with right hands and jab more. And then he went out and did it again,
Yeah.
right? So it's kind of somewhere it fell off. I'm not sure what
I
would
think-
happen there.
I think once Jesse is stable with a trainer, things can change. But in the last 2-3 years, he's had
Yeah,
Four?
exactly. Yeah.
4 trainers, and I know it's tough. It's tough. You got to find that chemistry with the trainer, but you really have to find your home to be able to have a good career. Manny Pacquiao had a great run with Freddie Roach for that same reason, because they knew each other. But I've had fighters tell me, I don't know what I'm hearing in the corner in the middle of fight, so they get lost because of that change of trainers. Believe it or not.
That's I'm glad you bring up that point, because I was bringing that up last week.
He was, yeah.
And I mentioned if we get a fighter in here, I wanted to ask them, why do you switch trainers all the time, especially a high level boxer? If you got a trainer that has taught you most of what you know, and you're successful with it, why would you change? But what's your thoughts on that? I mean, you just kind of mentioned it, but
Because I've seen it happen. Like I said earlier, it's the chemistry.
so they're searching for better chemistry. Just
Brandon and Robert did really good together. And then they became homies. And when that happened, the respect isn't there, and it's like, whatever. And then he went with Ricky, and it was full training camp. Ricky did really good with Brandon, but then came the experience that Robert has, that Ricky has, but it's not to the same, it's different. So going back to Robert, I think Brandon looked really good with Robert the second time around, even though he lost.
Yeah.
He was in great shape. He was in great shape.
Surprisingly
and he
good
was focused.
shape. Yeah.
And he did better than most of us thought he was going to do. Well, except for me, but most, fans thought, because I
Sure.
really thought he could pull it off. But he did better than expected.
yeah, I
So-
think everybody was impressed with the
But
way he came out.
Robert and Brandon have that chemistry. Sometimes it just trainers don't have too many. They have too many fighters, and fighters, they want their moments. They want to be
They want the
just
attention.
them. So sometimes it's a fighter, sometimes it's a trainer. So it's a hit and miss. You just don't know. You don't know, and I wish I knew the answer to that, because then I can help so many more fighters. But there really isn't.
Do you think there is a shortage of very good qualified trainers to work with some of these elite fighters?
That are not overwhelmed, yes. Because I told Manny Robles 2-3 years ago, maybe 3 years ago, I told him, I said, you're going to be trainer of the year soon. I said, you're an amazing trainer. And he was nominated last year.
Great.
And I remember I told him, I said, I told you were. You're going in. But then there was a period where he was being stretched too thin. So then he had to start saying no to fighters. Okay, I'm full. But right now he's good. I mean, look at Oscar Valdez. He did so good. And Jesse, and I can't wait for that fight.
Yeah.
But there is a shortage. There really is. Definitely. And I think strength and conditioning coaches, cutman, sometimes they want to help, and that's just, I don't even want to go there, but it's just
Yeah.
it sometimes it affects more. Look at
Sure.
it. Yeah. Back
Sure.
in the days,
You're saying when other trainers like assistants and cutmen,
Yeah.
when they
Yeah.
when they
too
insert themselves,
involved. Yeah. Just
and-
do what you're gonna do.
Yeah.
To me, back in the day, Israel Vasquez is a great friend of mine. He didn't have a strength and conditioning coach. He would do his own thing, and he was he's a legendary fighter.
Yeah.
yeah.
And now it's like all about supplements and what are you going to eat and what are you going to drink, and it's the science, and I know this is the sweet science, Jim. But I just feel like to be great, you have to go back to the basics. You have to go old school sometimes.
Yeah.
Don't depend on science.
Yeah,
too
you
much.
can see even with like Alex Ariza was kind of a cancer in the Pacquiao camp. You could see over the period of time that he was in there. And speaking of changing trainers, I actually read that Manny Pacquiao may not go with Freddie Roach for the upcoming fight.
Really?
He hasn't made
Yeah.
the official announcement,
He-
but that's the word.
What's the
Yeah.
reasoning for that, if we know? Or
He hasn't released a statement yet,
No.
so he said he's undecided. But he was originally, I think, had planned to release a statement this week, but I didn't see that.
It didn't happen, but
Yeah.
Conks had said that he wanted to give an opportunity to someone in his team that I can't remember
Boo
his
Boy?
name right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it is.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I think it is.
To shine so he can get opportunities to train other fighters
Yeah.
in the Philippines.
Wow. Well, that
I
sounds
think he
like
wants
Which
Boo
is-
Boy to train
which
him.
is-
Pacquiao would do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which is nice.
Yeah.
You know, it's like Freddie said, we had our nice 16-year run. He
Oh,
has
yeah.
no hard feelings whatsoever.
Yeah.
Yeah,
mean,
and
that-
Lucas Matisse will be
Yeah.
under Joel Diaz again.
Okay.
Yeah.
I kind of feel like a lot of the good trainers, a lot of the best trainers, they're in Southern California, or in California in general.
Robert Garcia and Freddie Roach. Those
Oh,
guys.
the Diaz brothers too,
Yeah,
and then
Diaz.
and then Virgil, he's up north, right?
Yeah,
Up
he's
north,
not
yeah.
doing
Yeah,
well
so-
though.
Yeah, he's
Health-wise.
hospitalized, right?
Yeah,
Oh,
I
really?
think they wanted to put him in an induced coma.
No way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
why Amir Khan was not being
Oh,
trained by
wow.
Virgil. So Amir
He's doing
Khan,
that bad. Holy. Smokes.
yeah, he was trained by Joe Goosen.
And
That's right.
Marlon didn't have him either in this fight. Marlon Esparza.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, it's sad. You know,
Wow.
prayers for him.
Yeah,
Definitely.
I agree.
Definitely, yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, he just recently found his long lost
His daughter,
daughter,
right?
Keisha Cole.
Yeah.
And for Brandon Rios' last fight and the one in Lancaster, you know how sometimes they have,
Mhm.
she was right there. It's so happy with her dad. So I really hope it works out. You know that
Yeah, and
he makes
and
it.
he was really starting to get recognition for all the work that he's done
Yeah.
with Ward, and then have so many
Yeah.
good fighters come to him. You know.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
that's unfortunate to hear. Hopefully, he makes a recovery.
But you're right. But then you know the Charlos are doing great, and I know Jermel. I always confuse them. Jermel, the 154, was training here in California. I think he still is. Is he?
I'm
not
not
sure.
sure if he trains in
And
California.
then Jamal, who won last night. Congratulations, Jamal. He's in Houston with
He's in
Ronnie,
Houston.
is it
for
Ronnie
sure.
Shields?
Yeah,
I'm not
at
sure.
his gym though, right?
Yeah,
That's the
Charlo.
Charlo brothers
Yeah.
gym. Yeah.
That guy's gonna be a problem at 160 for everyone.
Yeah. So he is now the WBC interim
Champion,
Yeah. So
yeah.
he's the interim middleweight champion
Yes,
of the world. Yeah.
he will have to fight the winner of Canelo and Triple G.
Okay,
Who's
so
next?
so he's the number one mandatory, but that doesn't mean he has to fight Triple G before Canelo.
No.
For the WBC, there's like some exception or something.
There is an exception because of everything that happened, and
Okay.
until the Canelo Triple G fight happens, which we're hoping it happens in September, and I have a feeling it will be in Vegas because why would you give someone 6 months and not say you better come back here and make us some money,
Yeah.
right?
Sure.
After that, maybe next year they'll make the Charlo fight.
Yeah, so I don't think we commented on that, but and I'm sure everybody in the boxing world knows at this point. But Canelo
Wednesday.
Alvarez was suspended on Wednesday for until September, so he'll be able to fight again in September, which happens to perfectly align with the date that they that the two of them would have fought if not on Cinco de Mayo. So
Right, September 15th
yeah.
at the most
Independence Day, which is the Mexican Independence Day, which is like the second biggest day
Right.
for fights, and yeah.
A lot of people were saying that it'll be at Cowboy Stadium, but something's happening. I'm not too involved in football, but something is happening at Cowboy Stadium that day, so it's not going to happen there. So
Okay.
people stop saying that it's going to be in Texas. But I honestly think that Vegas lost so much money
Sure.
with losing this fight Cinco de Mayo that there has to be something. They must have done something behind the scenes that we can't see, where they said you better fight here in Vegas.
Yeah, they got to make up for it.
They gotta
Yeah,
make-
so
make it
Triple
for
G,
it.
in the meantime, is fighting here now. He's fighting at StubHub Center in Carson.
Well, StubHub's got a fight on the 4th and
yeah,
the 5th.
Yeah, Ryan
Garcia. Ryan
Garcia
Garcia
is-
is going to be there on the 4th. Yeah.
Did you guys get an invite for his post party?
Not
He was
yet.
just on Team Vogue.
I'll check my email.
When
Yeah.
when
We
have
need to
you
get on
guys
the
seen a
press list.
when have you guys seen a fighter on Team Vogue?
Never.
Never. Yeah.
Ryan
I
is
think
the first.
I can see why, though. Yeah.
Yeah, I've
I-
never
like I
gone
can.
to a family reunion, and my cousin's daughters are all asking me if I know Ryan Garcia.
Yeah, exactly.
I just can't believe it. I've never
What's
been. in a
amazing that he has
situation.
It's
that
crazy,
effect
right?
where
It's-
he's
yeah.
bringing in all these
And
all
honestly-
these young
Teen
girls,
girls,
to
yeah.
boxing. You know.
I don't think Golden Boy, WBC. I don't think his manager, Roger, with all due respect, I don't think anybody can take credit for that because Ryan did that on his own.
Yeah.
Ryan
True.
did that on his own.
And he's shown
Yeah.
some talent. I mean, he's his last fight.
And I'm talking about I'm not talking about the boxing side
Oh,
of
I
it because
see.
that is Golden Boy. I'm sorry, that is Golden Boy. That is Roger. That is all of it. I'm talking about the social media attention he's getting.
He gets a lot of attention.
He was very smart about that.
He's been on his Instagram page for, I mean, even before he turned pro. 'Cause we all know him from the amateurs out here, and I've been following him on Instagram for a while. You know, so but he's always posting some stuff and giving shout outs to all his fans, and he's very engaging with his audience, which
and
is good.
He
Smart.
responds to almost everybody, and that's the difference. A lot of fighters don't respond to their fans. They don't even like their comments. And Ryan gets back to everyone, and he follows everybody. So, he's really smart about his social media, which I have a huge feeling he's going to sell out the StubHub Center.
Awesome. On the 4th?
Yeah, on the 4th.
Yeah. And then Triple G
and
on
he's fighting
on the
Jason
5th.
Velez, who is a name. I mean, he's a name that's on his way up.
He's not a bad fighter.
He's not it's a good fighter to have on your record. I think it'll be a quick fight.
Yeah.
But he's on his way out.
Yeah.
But it's a good name, and it's a good fight. It's a good matchup. They'll look good
a
together.
good builder, right?
A
A career builder.
Well,
Yeah, I'm just afraid of Francisco Vargas fighting Ryan Garcia right now, mostly because of his health and scar tissue and all that.
Wow.
And they're the same division. Do you think Gervonta Davis and Ryan Garcia, how do you think that fight would
I'd like to see it, but not for another 2 years.
Yeah, it's a
not
little
for another 2
premature,
years.
right?
Yeah.
They're calling each other out and stuff, but I think that would be the best.
Of course.
Versus the
Yeah,
best.
it'd be great. I think it might be a little bit premature considering I still feel as though Ryan personally is in the sort of career building stage. So he's fighting guys who have a lot of experience, meaning tons of fights, but they're not necessarily great records or winning records.
Not that challenging where he has to do something different.
Yeah, exactly. Whereas I think Gervonta Davis is a little bit beyond that in his career, and so Gervonta Davis is a step up. But if you were to go from right now to Gervonta Davis, it's a big step up, right? So you got to put some guys in front of Ryan who are who have winning records, who are know what I mean.
I think his toughest fight, for Ryan was in Canada last year. Was that the only?
Did he get injured in that fight? Something happened. Roger told me something happened.
It was unanimous decision. I couldn't believe that it went all the rounds because, but some people can handle power. Some people can't.
That's true.
But I think it wasn't too. He did damage his hand, but I don't think it was a sprain or a break or anything like that. Maybe just a little.
Well, I think Golden Boy's got a really good prospect with Ryan Garcia.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I think they have to take care of him. They have to let him grow into his ability. To go after Tank Davis right now would be, as you said, risky and premature.
Yeah.
And I think when the time is right, they should do it. It'll be a great fight. You're the second person this week to mention the StubHub being sold out with Ryan Garcia.
Really?
I think it's going to happen.
Yeah, so...
and I think Triple G's is going to happen, too. And I honestly think that us as so many people are upset. Can I talk about the Triple G fight?
Go for it, yeah. Of course.
I think so many people are upset that he's fighting Vargas, but I think it'll be a good fight. But I think as boxing fans, we really have to just go and support because it was unfortunate what happened. It's not like it happens all the time. Let's go support the fighters. Let them stay active. Yeah, let them stay active.
I made the same comment last week. I was telling Marco, you look at all the vicious comments and things like that are about the fact that he's fighting Martirosyan. It's like he had to take an opponent on a few weeks' notice, and it's sorry it couldn't be Billy Joe Saunders or something. You know what I mean? Like it's. So
the thing is, you try to make a fight with Triple G in 2 or 3 4
weeks. Yeah.
You're gonna get fighters with so many demands.
Yeah.
And Vargas was just willing to fight.
Yeah.
And not only that, but why is it when Canelo fought Amir Khan, who was 2 weight divisions before him, it wasn't a problem, but Triple G fighting someone at 154 is a problem.
Yeah, I agree.
That's a good point.
No, I agree.
I like the opportunity for Vargas to get his name out there to a larger audience because he's kind of been overlooked and He's had some good fights, some big fights, but he's not a huge name in boxing. People in boxing know who he is, know that he's a dangerous opponent. I think it's a good opportunity for him to showcase his talent, and who knows, maybe. I mean, it would be an upset, a huge upset, if he stole the show and he won, right? But it's kind of in his backyard too, him fighting over here. So I think I'm happy for him that he's getting the shot, and I know he's going to make the best out of it. So I think he's going to put on a good challenge for Triple G.
And not only that, we're going to get Don King.
Yeah,
we get to hear him and make it exciting a little bit.
We get to see his hair.
Did you guys see the ESPN did an interview with Bob Arum and Don King together a few weeks ago? Like, man, they're both in their 80s at this point, and they went back retrospective through their sort of the competition in their career with each other.
Well, you know what's funny? Jose Sulaiman, Dan Goosen, Bob Arum, and Don King were all born the same year.
Oh, wow.
They were all born the same year. Jose Sulaiman and Dan Goosen died the same year.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, but it's something about that year in boxing. We had a lot of, they were powerful people. They are.
Yeah.
Important people in boxing. And now we have Bob and Don King. But for the Jose Ramirez, Amir Khan fight, to me, it was, besides all the drama and everything Don King did and Bob did, I didn't really live it. I was a kid when all that was happening. But it was nice to see them there together. Yeah. Honestly, because it was like seeing boxing.
Oh, absolutely.
They made so many great fights.
Yeah, arguably two of the most influential people in boxing history.
Yeah, to think that last 100 Bob Arum in particular is still kind of at the top of boxing in the sport after all this time.
That's because he smokes weed, remember?
Really?
Didn't he say that?
I never heard that. Wow.
I'm not surprised.
I like him a lot more now.
Yeah. I'm just kidding, but I did hear that he does. Like, he said it in an interview.
I'm sure he
maybe
did.
He was just joking.
You know what I love about Bob Arum? He's just he's so opinionated. You know, he's very animated and opinionated. When somebody asks him something, he just really believes what he says, and especially when somebody asks him about UFC or MMA.
Oh man,
he's just comparing it to boxing, he's like, oh, that garbage, But he's a great character and person in boxing.
Do you think Mayweather will go into the octagon?
We've talked about that. If he does, it has to be in the beginning. It has to be against somebody that obviously he can beat. What did I say? He would do it for $2 billion. I think he will do 4 fights to accumulate $2 billion. Anything less than that's not worth it for him.
I think we both agreed that it's just a matter of price, nothing else, right? So, meaning if he can get into an octagon and make $500 million for his next fight, then I suspect he'll do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and to be honest, I don't even know that it will be against some lesser opponent necessarily. Like if someone told him, hey, you can make $900 million for fighting Conor in the octagon one time, he'll probably do that.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? It might just have to be that way, especially with Conor, with what Conor did the other day.
Yeah,
where
with Conor,
he's gonna get sued.
Acting a fool, and Floyd's getting older, so it's like,
it might just be that mega match again.
Yeah.
But in the cage,
Sure, why not?
I think they're doing it. I have a huge feeling. What month are we in? April, May, June, July. I don't know. I think we're in for a surprise. And we will get Mayweather McGregor too, but I don't think it'll be in the octagon.
Oh, really?
I think it'll be
a boxing
match again.
Oh.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'd be interested.
Floyd knows how to play all of us.
Sure.
Yeah, he knows how to play all of us.
Well, I was thinking that he was going to have an MMA fight on the Canelo Triple G on May 5th.
No way he'll be there undercard. No way.
No, I was thinking.
Oh, you mean on the same day?
Yeah, he was going to have a competing event.
Match.
Yeah,
just
just to kind of dig into Oscar a little bit,
Yeah.
And
No, I think
would hurt his purse.
I think he'll do something a little bit before Mexican Independence Day,
really?
like he did last year.
Yeah.
If he does it, it has to be this year.
Yeah.
It has to be this year. I mean,
I've read a lot of things where they've supposedly been negotiating his fight in the octagon, and there's all kinds of rules, no knees, no elbows, no
Come
takedowns.
on, then what is it? It's a boxing match.
Yeah,
with 4-ounce gloves.
Yeah,
a
with
boxing
4-ounce
match,
gloves,
which
I
just
think
means he puts McGregor away earlier.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And knowing Floyd, I mean, he could probably negotiate that, you know. So.
And do you think Conor saw the kind of money he saw last year before in UFC? Really?
No
Never,
way.
Never.
Not
So
a chance.
if you have the opportunity to do it again, why not?
Oh, absolutely.
Of course.
Who
You
wouldn't?
never say
Yeah.
no to money.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think it's just a payday.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of how much he can make. And I
Yeah.
think the reason that Floyd does go to the octagon for the payday is that I don't think there is a fight left that can make him as much money in boxing. Right?
Yeah.
So meaning if he took any boxing opponent, there's not a fight that's going to make that much money. So
Yeah, and Mayweather has a lot of money, but come on, he's a big spender too.
Yeah,
He's a
huge
huge
gambler,
spender.
huge spender, yeah.
So he loves money.
I don't think he'll pass up the opportunity to make the big. He's always trying to outdo himself with making the biggest purse on his
Right.
next fight, and if that means doing MMA, he's not going to pass up that opportunity.
No way.
Yeah, so that's what I was thinking. He might do. You know, it'll either be that one mega fight, or he'll do a contract for 4 fights and accumulate over $1 billion. I think he's got to get acclimated to the cage. If he's smart, you know, he's got to get acclimated to the cage and, you know, fight like a CM Punk or somebody on that level, you know.
I love CM Punk. One WWE. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think he'll go to
Really?
the octagon. I think
At
if
all?
it happens, it'll be in boxing. No, he's not. He's not gonna risk it. Mayweather's not the type to risk it.
Yeah,
Mm-mm.
perhaps.
So no, that's a good point. But
Well, you know, and I was just watching highlights of him in the WWE the other day.
Mayweather?
Yeah,
when he
versus
punches the Big Show.
Yeah, versus Big Show. and when it happened, I really didn't pay attention to it. But now that he's retired, and then he's kind of, I had a little bit of nostalgia for it. I was like, oh, look at Mayweather. What an entertainer, you know?
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
But I mean,
Anything.
we're gonna look back on it and say, yeah, I mean, he was a great defensive boxer, and then, I mean, he did some cool stuff going into WWE. What other boxers did that? You know, what other boxers could do that? So, and then for him to do MMA, if he does that, I mean, he's already all-time great.
I like to go back to YouTube and look at Muhammad Ali because I wasn't around in the time that he was fighting, but he was very hated.
Yeah.
Just like
definitely.
Mayweather.
Similarly, yeah,
Just like
absolutely.
Mayweather was. So
Good point.
just I think in about 10, 20 years, people are going to look at Mayweather the way we look at Ali.
Yeah.
You know, it's just Mayweather's behavior outside of the ring, but he's smart. You know, a lot of people don't know all the charity work he does.
Yeah.
He paid for the silver gloves. I think he still does, but he does it without putting his name on it. He pays for so many amateur shows without people knowing
Well, that's
about
what I'm
it.
saying. I'm starting to feel like that about him already. After seeing the WWE videos,
Yeah.
you know, the highlights, I'm starting to feel that way about him already. You know, so 10 more years, 20 more years.
Everybody will.
Next Muhammad.
Yeah, I mean Muhammad is he's the GOAT, right? Or is that Chavez?
Oh, well, I think it's up for debate.
Okay,
Yeah.
but I
Right.
think Mayweather will be known as the best ever. TBE, just
Yeah.
that's him.
Yeah.
That's him, and I have a lot of respect for the way he made his money because you got to make money in the sport. It's such a short career. It's such a lonely career, and for you to be able to profit off of it, why not?
Yeah.
Why not? We don't really know the way he is unless you're his friend, and I know a lot of his friends, and by himself, he's a good person. When Chicanito passed away, he paid the bill.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I
You
remember
know,
that.
so he does a lot of good, but people, you know, we see the bad, and people like that.
Well, plus the media will only put what they can, what's more entertaining, what's gonna draw viewers in as well.
Oh yeah,
So-
definitely.
So we, you know, I don't know Mayweather personally, but I've said it before. He's probably a good guy.
Yeah.
If you're in his circle and you're his family, I'm sure he's a great guy. You know, we only see the entertainment value
Right.
of Mayweather most of the time. So.
Well, like if I also run Supreme Boxing. If I put a charity event that I don't know Leo Santa Cruz did, and I put the Broner Vargas video, the Leo thing will get 100, 200 likes, and the video is already in the hundreds of thousands of likes.
Yeah.
It's just who we are
Yeah.
as humans. We should have done the other way around.
Yeah. So tell us about some of the things that you're doing in boxing. We've talked about the fights and everything, and Mayweather and Triple G. What's going on your side with Supreme Boxing and all the other business?
Yeah. Well, with
aspects?
Supreme Boxing, obviously it's a huge platform that has brought a lot of opportunities for people in our team. We're gonna start I just said that I didn't want to do the science stuff, but we're gonna start like a nutritional type of thing, products, more ointments, CBD, stuff like that to help with pain. But that's just because I want to have some type of foundation to be able to help fighters, because there's a lot of fighters that don't have sponsors, they don't have money, and that's one of the things that I like to do. I like to go help. I like to help whatever I can do. Most of the stuff that I do that I don't get paid for, I have my job, obviously I have to pay the bills, but most of the stuff I do is charity stuff or stuff that I do to help fighters. But that's with Supreme Boxing, and hopefully everybody, it's Supreme Boxing has been a platform that people love or hate, because we support a lot of Southern California fighters because we see them more. So they're like, hey, why do you post this person 3 times and you don't post the East Coast person more? But it's just the relationship that we have with the fighters here. And then at WBC, well, we have the amateur show coming June 14th, 15th, and 16th.
Yeah, that's the Green Belt
The
Challenge.
Green
right?
Belt Challenge, which this week we have Mauricio Sulaiman coming on Thursday with somebody from the president of Mexico. I can't remember his name. And we're going to have a preview to the Green Belt Challenge. Jesse Vargas is coming. I'm probably going to ask Ryan Garcia to come too. And we're going to have like a little exhibition of sparring. I'll let you know if you want to send anybody.
Wow.
It's going to be at Jerry Ortiz Gym.
Okay.
Is that what it's called, or Memorial? Jerry Ortiz.
Ortiz.
Jerry Ortiz. And we're going to have free food that's sponsored
Well,
by...
Marco's there.
I'm there.
Yeah.
Yes.
You want him over.
Well, you won't be here. You'll be
Oh,
in
wow.
Dubai.
I'll send somebody there.
Yeah.
But what is it? Los Amigos Tacos are going to sponsor food, and we're going to give gifts to the kids. But it's going to be a preview of what we're going to do June
the Green Belt.
14th. It's just going to be sparring, a little talking and stuff like that. But this year we're going to have 6 belts. And the reason we want to do that is because we always want one for a female fighter, which has always been hard. We don't get enough girls. So girls, if you're listening, please come and compete. You don't have to win. We've had people win the belt and they won 2 fights and lost 1 or even lost.
So what is the kind of the breakdown of the show? It's the Green Belt Challenge is an amateur boxing show that's put on by the WBC, right?
Well, in collaboration with the
USA.
sheriffs and USA Boxing.
And USA Boxing.
Yeah.
Okay.
We wanted to make it a tournament for a long time, but it just wouldn't work out for what we want to do, because if you've ever been to the show, the kids get these amazing medals. They're beautiful. They're beautiful medals, and everybody gets one. So we want to give them the opportunity to try every day for 3 days to fight, and we don't make the choice. A lot of people bring me coffee, bring me tea, they
try bribing you.
for 3 days. For 3 days at the show, they're hugging me, and I'm like,
They're your best friend all of a
Yeah,
sudden.
Now they're going to stop doing that. No.
I know, right?
You shouldn't have said it.
No, or Pepe.
That's
But the
funny.
thing is that it's really hard because we feel everybody deserves the belt.
Yeah.
And they wanted to do these challenges around, nationwide, but I feel like it will take away the prestige of the belt if we do that. So we want to keep this here because we have people coming from Hawaii. We had someone from London last year.
Oh, wow.
So at the end of on the 3rd day, Joe Zanders, that's who you guys should take coffee to. Joe Zanders. He's sitting ringside.
Let me write that down.
The entire time, and he doesn't only see how well you did as a boxer, but how you are as a person with your team. If you go and sometimes you get mad. He doesn't like that. But yeah, I mean, it's like outstanding boxer, like they do at the blue and gold.
Yeah, blue and gold.
Yeah, but so it's 1 for female, it's 3 for different male divisions, And then the other 2 this year is going to be for 2 fights that are going to be pre-matched.
Okay.
So we're still looking. Nobody has been chosen as of
I
yet.
was gonna say, how do we get
We're
the
go-
pre-match?
we're going
How do we
to
get on that list?
Yeah, we're gonna. I have a meeting on Wednesday, but I really would like it if there would be 1 female match and 1 male. But I know it's hard because we don't have too many girls elite in the same division. But we want to pick 2 people or 2 guys or whatever that have kind of, I don't want to say a name, but they've, I don't know all the amateur boxers, so that's why I think USA Boxing should choose, but that there's something there that they're known, that it's going to be a great matchup, kind of like when we had Fernando Vargas' son and it was Sean Garcia, Ryan's brother, last year. That was a good fight.
Well, with
But-
the show's 3 days,
Mm-hmm.
I imagine you're going. Well, is it the 4th or the 5th year of
This
the
is
green
our
belt?
4th year.
4th year. Wow.
4th year, and it's gotten so popular.
Yeah, I
It's
imagine
crazy.
there's going to be a lot of fighters showing up to
Yeah.
get in on those 3 days. You can only have so many fights in 3 days. How many bouts will you have per day?
A Saturday is when we have the most, which I think is it like 40 or 50 that we have, or is that too much?
Wow.
A lot of action.
No, I
40.
think that's
40
okay.
or 50? Yeah, and then Thursday and Friday we have between 20 and 25 depending on.
Is it going to be single ring or 2 rings? Just one
This
ring?
year we're still going to do 1 ring because
Okay.
we don't have enough manpower to how we're going to pick an outstanding boxer if Joe Zanders can't be in both
Yeah,
places.
watching both.
So we're going to try it out again this year for with 1 ring.
Okay.
With 1 ring. We're going to see how that goes. But I'm excited for the elite fights because we get to promote them, have a poster, a face-off, and everything that Hector will do for these kids just to get excited. And whoever wins that fight, they actually get the belt right there.
Yeah.
From the
Well, you
show.
know this. We used to have a tournament called the Desert Showdown,
I remember
and
it. Yeah.
that's no longer going on. So there's, aside from what they call the PAL Nationals, the Green Belt Challenge is one of the most, I guess, most anticipated boxing events of the year now.
Yeah.
Since we don't have the Desert Showdown, so I'm very excited. All my fighters, a lot of my fighters here, are excited to do that.
How much
with-
did you pay
What's
for
that?
the Desert Showdown? How much did you pay?
I think it was $40 per entry.
And this is absolutely free.
Awesome.
There you go.
The attendants, the families, the friends that want to
even
go
the
attend,
attendees are free.
everything is free.
Wow.
Everything is free. The registration is free, and a lot of people don't know that. So this time in the flyer, I put big letters, free event, because
That's great.
people don't know they can bring their family. Family of 6. How much could it cost for you to attend? I don't know how much they charge. 10
Well,
bucks.
I'm not going to mention the gym. There's a very good gym and very good owner, but we went to a show last week. $20 per person.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which, gyms, it's
But that's
privately
not
owned.
uncommon, though.
No.
Yeah, that's
so
the
this
thing,
is
it's not
that's very charitable of the WBC and USA
Yeah.
Boxing to
Yeah.
put that show together.
Free food, even. Yeah. So
Yeah.
right, that's what
Well,
you said. Free
no.
food.
That was the previous.
Oh, the previous thing.
some-
Okay.
No,
the
free
pre-event.
food for this week.
Yeah.
Okay, this
Yeah.
week is free food.
Yeah,
I was like,
but-
free food and free family? How do you guys do that?
No, we do have free entry and everything. There's a taco guy that's going to be outside selling tacos if you want to buy some.
Awesome.
There you
And we do have booths that come and sell things, but that's only if you want to. It's everything else. Everything is free. But yeah, I mean, Mr. Honda from Taken Boxing has really helped us out these last few years to make it happen.
Oh, there's that same
Yeah.
Same car?
same oldies.
I guess.
Yeah.
It's a guy in a wheelchair with a boombox.
Really?
He's got a motorized.
Yeah,
he's
so-
been in the gym.
So
But I
Mr.
digress.
Honda, we're really grateful to him for supporting this event for 3 years in a row now.
Is the Greenbelt Challenge still open to sponsors that want to sponsor
Yeah,
the event? If
yeah.
you guys are looking for other supporters or local businesses.
Yeah, we haven't asked Mr. Honda this year.
Really?
So I want to give the opportunity to get sponsors. It's not too much because the facility, the sheriffs are putting it, the ring pro is donating it, but really it's the cost of the volunteers, the doctors, the sanction.
Yeah.
The belts are sponsored, and the medals and the T-shirts are sponsored by WBC, and the backpacks are sponsored by you. Have you seen the backpacks?
I got a backpack a few years ago.
No,
It
the
might
new
be different.
the new ones are awesome, and they're sponsored by Supreme Boxing
Oh
and Pueblo
wow, that's
Boxing.
great.
They're really really nice, and we just fill them up with stuff that people sponsor. So if you can't sponsor with money, maybe you have 250 extra bags or little
Yeah,
Yeah.
keychains,
absolutely.
and we try to give everybody war tape as well.
I've got plenty of product
Oh,
to
yeah,
drop
I
in those
see.
goodie bags.
Yeah,
So,
but we've had a lot of support from Cleto Reyes and other sponsors, so hopefully this year we're able to do it
well, I
again.
remember the first year that we did it, or it had been the second year. All the fighters got their goodie bag.
Yeah.
From doing the event, and there was tape in there from War.
Yeah.
There was a hat from Golden Boy. There was a T-shirt,
Mhm.
and I just remember taking the bags from all the fighters and grabbing all the tape. I said, "That's mine."
You guys don't need the tape.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I probably wore my Golden Boy hat for years until
Yeah.
it got kind of dirty. But that's great. It sounds like a wonderful event. I know all of Southern California and the gyms and the fighters that know about it are excited to participate. Is there a website that we need to go to register? We just go to
Um,
the event.
If you're here in Southern California, just go. But if you have any questions as far as matches and things like that, go to Delilah. I mean, everybody knows Delilah, right?
Yeah, everybody knows Delilah.
Yeah,
I don't know Delilah.
You should know Delilah.
should.
Yeah,
I don't know
Delilah's
Delilah.
awesome. But if you're out of, I don't know how far this goes, but if you're out of the state or even out of the country, do email me so we can try to pre-match you. That way, if you're traveling from across the country, you got to get a match.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we try to secure those. Obviously with our people here in Southern California.
Yeah, so then if anybody listening is from out of state or out of the country, you want to contact Delilah, right?
Yeah,
she's-
Delilah
what's her last name? I can't remember.
Ponce.
Ponce, Delilah Ponce.
Yeah.
She's the head of officials for USA Boxing
Mhm.
Gotcha.
in our region, and
I should know her. You're right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
she's what do I call her, the queen official.
Yeah.
Because she's in charge of pretty much everything at all the events.
She gets
So-
everything taken
yeah.
care of.
Yeah, so get a hold of her, and then she'll put you in touch with Nancy or
Yeah.
give
So
them
bring
your email.
coffee. Bring coffee to Delilah too.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah.
Delilah, yeah, bring her coffee.
And if you want to go to the event this Thursday, let me know and I'll give you the information. I think it's at 5 o'clock, but I'll
Okay.
find out more information tomorrow.
So belts similar to this WBC belt, and I've seen
I
them.
should have
They're-
brought the
they're,
amateur
They're
belt.
very nice. They're very nice. They
They
look.
are.
I mean, they look like the actual belt that Mayweather's holding, right? All
Yeah.
the championship
That's
belts.
what they all.
So
yeah.
so
It's a little smaller,
okay.
but it's
So you're
same.
you're awarding 6 of those.
6 of those.
Wow.
I'm having a lot of trouble deciding if we're gonna do the gym, because it never works out. We can't say we're gonna give the gym to the most participants because then you're gonna bring 50 and not all of them can fight.
Yeah, sure.
So last year we tried to
That's
do it
funny.
on how they were sportsmanship,
Yeah.
and that didn't work out. We had a lot of gyms that were upset. We have gyms that said we're not coming back. So now I'm really I don't. You're never gonna make everybody happy. We do want to give a belt to a gym. I just honestly don't know how to do it without getting anybody upset.
Yeah. Such an emotional sport, and
Sure.
when you don't win, and it's just it's heartbreaking.
It is, and there has to be a winner and a loser,
Yeah.
unfortunately. But like I said, to win the belt, you don't have to win all the matches. You don't have to fight all 3 days. A lot of people think that you do, but you do have to be there the 3rd day.
Okay.
If you have if you have a feeling, hey, I did good, and there'll be talk. You hear talk, hey,
Sure.
this person's gonna get. Stick around. I think we give the awards that Saturday around 6-7 o'clock. Leave and come back, but you definitely have to be there in order to get the belt.
All right.
Yeah. After that, we bring them all for photo shoots, and we give them opportunities to come to fights with us. Some of the amateur champions that we've had, the WBC amateur champions, they're doing really good. Carlos Balderas got signed to Ring
yeah.
Star. Carlos Balderas is going to be at the National Boxing Hall of Fame next week. I'm actually going to be introducing him because he's getting a Rising Star
Okay.
recognition, and he was one of our champions.
And we're will there be any famous world champions, any current world champions
Oh, yeah.
at the event?
We always do.
Yeah, to sign autographs for the kids and
Yeah.
take pictures.
Yeah, we'll
that'd
definitely.
be
We always
great.
have Leo. Leo will have just fought June 9th, so I'm positive he'll be there. There's always fighters that go and give the medals to the fighters.
Right.
Yeah, and then we'll have the sheriff there as well.
Sounds like a must attend
Yeah,
event.
it sounds really
And it's
interesting.
free.
Yeah,
I can't beat that.
Bring the family too.
Yeah.
And I mean,
Yeah.
where else are you going to see 50?
I was gonna
50
say that's
amateur
a
fights.
lot of action
That's
in
a lot
one
of
day.
fights.
A lot of
Yeah.
action in one day.
I guarantee the officials will be tired.
Of course,
and you know they're all volunteers too.
of course.
So you know, if you go to these, if you're a fan, even if you're a boxer, you know, tell these officials thank you because they spend
Yeah.
all day there, and they watch you box. You know, even if you
Mhm.
didn't win or you won, you got to say thank you.
Yeah, definitely.
So I definitely appreciate them and the WBC for putting on such a great event. And it's getting bigger, which is
It
cool.
is.
It's
I
getting
love
bigger
it.
every year.
I love it.
All right.
So, speaking of WBC titles and WBC champions, as you mentioned, you said Leo might be there handing it out. He fights on June 9th. I did want to ask a question as someone who obviously works for WBC. There's some criticism in boxing from fans mostly, not necessarily from champions and things like that, about following the true championship or championship belts.
Right.
So, like, for instance, in boxing, we have things like the pound-for-pound champion, the lineal champion. You have Ring Magazine, who crowns their own champion,
Right.
BoxRec, who crowns their own champion. Is it difficult as a member of WBC to follow some of that as well, or is there really like a formula? Is there something that we can explain that says like, you know, this is there validity to that criticism, or is that just something that you hear from fans and not so much from fighters and insiders?
You hear it from everybody because, like I said earlier, you're never going to make everybody happy.
Yeah,
But
that's
if you
true.
go into the ratings team meet every single month.
It's good to know.
Every single month. I've been there. In Baku, I was there because I was so interested in knowing how it works. And a lot of people don't know how it is behind the scenes, but the top 15 fighters in every single division, first of all, they have to be clean boxers. So they have to be in the clean boxing program. If not, then you're out. And
Okay.
believe me, we sent out a list this week. I don't know if you guys got the press release of everybody that is out because they're not
Yeah.
on it. So as far as the championship belts, I know it can get confusing, but the NABF, the smaller belts like Continental Americas, I feel personally they have to exist in order for you to grow. The NABF is your first step to start getting WBC belts or any other organization for that matter. Muhammad Ali, the first belt he had was an NABF belt.
Okay.
So why not have a national title before a world title? Okay, then we go to the international. Continental America, silver champion, interim title. Yeah, it's tough, but we're also in a business where not everybody's fighting each other.
Yeah, that's got to be. How do you guys address that? Because it's got to be problematic. As you mentioned, so you have a ratings team.
Yes.
And they go through and they rate the boxers sort of top down, top 15. But some of those fighters may have promotional conflicts or network conflicts or things like that. How does that affect the ratings process?
It affects it tremendously.
Okay.
When we were in Baku at the convention, Victor Postel was there and Regis Prograis showed up. Who shows up in Baku? He showed up. He said, I should be fighting for your super lightweight title.
Yeah.
So they ended up having a meeting and they said, okay, this is the mandatory. After Jose, well, obviously we all knew Terrence Crawford at that point was going to vacate. Jose is going to fight, I think it was, oh God, I forgot. He was going to fight somebody in December. Do you guys remember who?
I don't remember.
It was somebody from Top Rank. They're going to fight. And then, so the winner of that fight and the winner of Regis Prograis and Postol, they're going to have to fight each other.
Okay.
And then what happens? They promote Prograis and Postol gets injured.
Yeah.
What do you do at that point? when you have a plan, but the plan is not always going to work out.
Sure.
So then we got the guy that I can't remember his name that fought Lomachenko from Uganda or something like that. Dumongo.
No, I don't remember.
But you know who I'm talking about.
Yeah,
who,
sure.
Who fought. He was a world champion. So it was so easy to get him ranked into the WBC, get him in the clean boxing program. Okay, you're going to fight him because he was a world champion. He was like number 2 and number 3 in WBO. Why not? Why not make that fight? Sometimes you have to make those decisions. You have to make those decisions like we had to do with Vargas, like we had to do with what's his name? With the
mustache.
The circus strongman.
What's his name?
Yeah, actually, I had said that he was going to be I had suspected that he would be
He
Triple
was
G's
supposed to be.
opponent. Oh, was he?
Yeah.
He was my prediction for Triple G's opponent for May 5th.
Let me tell you what happened. Munguia was going to fight Triple G.
Okay.
But obviously, we all know that the commission didn't allow it, right? I have a feeling it was HBO.
Okay.
But it could have been both. Then it was going to be the super strong man. Why can't I? O'Sullivan.
O'Sullivan, yeah.
Yeah, so O'Sullivan. Then it was going to be
Spike, yeah.
Sullivan.
That's funny.
He was not in the clean boxing program.
Okay.
And then he sent in his paperwork. Okay, here I am. They all did. Munguia, Sullivan, Vargas, they all did it. So that kind of speeds up, does like an emergency process. Okay, let's get them ranked. So Triple G can get that fight. But you have to be qualified. We
Gotcha.
can't just pick somebody from the street
Yeah.
either. And Vargas was already ranked. Even his fights fell through. I mean, if you guys follow him, Vargas' fights fell through, but he was ranked and he was a mandatory. He was supposed to fight Ishe. Who was he supposed to fight? Vargas. And the fight fell through.
Sure.
But regardless, he's had bad luck in the last 2
Yeah.
years. So why not take up this opportunity and fight? But all these things come in place when championship fights happen, injuries, promoter problems. So what are we supposed to do? We just have to try to make the best fights possible. But I'll tell you this much: the WBC will not ever sanction a mismatch.
Yeah.
Ever. And we've seen that happen in other organizations, but it will not happen at the WBC.
So there's
If there is one and you have it in the tip of your tongue, tell me.
Oh no, I don't have one. Do
Do you?
Yeah. No.
No,
But you mentioned something I am curious because so there was some news that came up for the Triple G fight in particular where I think it was the IBF said that their mandatory was next in line
Yes.
for the rotation. How does the rotation work, or how do you coordinate unification bouts or mandatories with the other sanctioning bodies? So how do you determine, for instance, or is there a method to determining that the WBC's mandatory is next before somebody else's mandatory? Or is that the fighter's responsibility?
No, it's not the fighter's responsibility. Usually the sanctioning bodies are very professional about it, and they have their meetings, just like they had their meeting, IBF, WBA, and WBC. The only one that doesn't really cooperate in the meetings is WBO. But IBF, WBA, WBC, they have their meetings about these things. And I know because with Leo and Abner's fights, since it's always WBA and WBC, for some reason, it's alternating. The judges, the officials, all that, sometimes it's WBA, sometimes it's WBC.
Okay.
So it's an agreement, but they talk. They
Yeah.
have their conference calls, and it's usually the presidents that do that themselves.
And you said the WBO is not sort of cooperative in that process, or they're just
No.
not involved in that process? Or
I don't think they're interested in being a part of the process.
okay.
I think they just want to do their own thing. And that's fine.
They originally split from WBA, right? It was there.
Paco?
Yeah.
Paco's special. Yeah, Paco's special. Even Mauricio has told me, I wish I could sit down and talk to him. Wouldn't it be amazing if they all got along?
Yeah.
But right now it's 3 against 1.
Right. True. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's good that you guys, or at least the 3 of you, work in cooperation with each other to make
Yeah.
these determinations, because I think there was some conflict with Triple G originally, but it was resolved, obviously,
was
because
resolved.
Monterosian came.
Well, I'm glad you asked. I'm glad you asked, and we finally got some good answers.
Yeah,
because we've been asking this question to each other for weeks.
I don't think it was fair for the IBF to strip Triple G because of the situation.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's not common.
Yeah,
It's
that's
not like he did it on purpose. Let him fight. If he doesn't fight after the whatever, IBF, I think it was Darchinio. I can't pronounce the last name of the fighter. Then strip him.
Yeah,
But don't strip him because of something that was out of his control.
Yeah, it was good. Yeah, I agree, because it was like a 3 weeks notice, it's moving opponent, moving venue.
Yeah.
You know.
Look, if Canelo can get a 6-month suspension, let Canelo fight.
Yeah.
I mean, let Triple G fight.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. But no, thanks for clarifying some of that, because those questions come up a lot about, champions and rankings. You mentioned that you have a rankings committee. They meet
Every month.
every single month.
And they are so strict.
Is there so they
And
they have?
Mauricio's not part of that.
Oh, really? So it's
No.
just completely different.
Bob Yalen is the chairperson of that, and obviously if you feel that there's a fighter that should be ranked and isn't in the top 100, top 50, even top 15, you can email us and we'll submit it. We'll submit it because it's impossible for the ratings committee to know every single fighter. There's
course,
80,000.
yeah.
There's 80,000 fighters that are registered. How are we supposed to know them all?
course.
When I took Danny Roman to an event at a school last year, and I got a call from the office and said, "Who's this guy with the WBA belt?" And I said, "He's Danny Roman. He's he's a current world champion." And he's a champion, and they didn't know
And
who
they
he
didn't know,
was.
yeah.
So should he be ranked? Yes, but obviously he just went under the radar. So I mean, seriously, if managers, trainers, if you have someone that you feel should be ranked, send us an email and we submit it. We obviously it has to be reviewed. You have to take into consideration who they fought and who those people fought.
Yeah.
It's not as easy as I'm gonna get them ranked. There's a process to it.
So the ratings committee, do they also determine who the mandatory is, or is that derived from the rankings, who the mandatory contender is for the
because
belt?
it's moved up and down.
Yeah.
If you go to a convention, you really should go to a convention. This year is going to be in Kyiv, Ukraine. Vitaly Klitschko is hosting.
Oh,
It's amazing to see how the ratings committee did something. They did their top 15, top 20 or whatever. And then at the convention, they talk about it, and managers come up, fighters come up, the board of directors talk, and everything moves around
yeah.
because there's always valid reasons. So a lot of people don't know how this works. And that's why everybody's invited to the convention. Anybody can go, and you can see what the process is in boxing. And it's very transparent. Mauricio's very active on Twitter. You ask him something, he'll answer you.
Yep,
So-
that's Mauricio Suleiman.
Yeah. And
so-
our conventions are open to everybody, where you can see how transparent it really is, and how important the safety of the sport is.
Are the titleists from the other sanctioning bodies excluded from the rating?
Yes, the
Okay.
champions are.
The champions are all not in the ratings, right?
No.
So they're okay.
No. So they don't have to be in the clean boxing program. Sometimes they are, though. Like Gervonta Davis, he's always called. I mean, actually, he was one of mine, and I had a hard time getting it just because for communication purposes. Sometimes I couldn't get a hold of him, so he was removed from the ratings. But he's back on there, and he's not our champion, but he is on there. I don't know what'll happen this week now that he became he's regular, or how does that work? What was it, super or regular? I don't know what champion he is. WBA.
Oh yeah, the
Is it
featherweight.
super or regular?
Super featherweight
Yeah.
world champion.
So if he is, I'm assuming he'll be removed from the ratings and just opens up a spot for somebody else.
Yeah.
They could always unify.
So that's the answer. The current world champions are not part of the ratings.
No.
Yeah. From any organization, current world champions from any of the 4 major sanctioning
Correct.
bodies. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Good to know.
Yeah.
I'm like I could talk about this stuff forever. I'm like,
I feel like I'm in class right now.
No.
And you probably
am.
feel like you want to go to Ukraine to the convention
do.
and see it. I don't get bored. I could be there all day listening and watching, and I love it.
Yeah, it's so
I love
it's
it.
like these are questions. Even me, I'm a pretty, I would describe myself as an avid boxing fan. I watch a lot of boxing and stuff like that. And sometimes the intricacies like this, in terms of the different championships or how the ratings The organization is transparent, but the information may not be the easiest to find. And so having someone like you come on and get to explain it, it's like really refreshing,
That's
you know, because I
awesome.
get to do it. So I appreciate it.
Maybe when Mauricio's here you usually do this on Sundays.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Every
I'll
Sunday.
let you know ahead of time so he can come and answer some
I was
of
gonna
these
say
questions.
Oh, that'd be
we will
great.
adjust our schedule for
Yeah.
Mauricio too.
Well, he's
For
here.
president of
He's here.
WBC? Sure, why
He's here
not?
Thursday and Friday, but
I
you're
was gonna-
gone.
That's
I was
awesome.
gonna say, yeah.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to fit into the Sunday schedule. But-
Well, hey, Chris, not to cut it short, I got to catch a plane very,
Yeah.
very soon, and I know your phone is blowing up right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
I did want to ask one more question.
Go for it.
Clarissa Shields versus one of your close friends, right? When is that fight going to happen? Versus Maricela Cornejo.
Yeah. You know what? I really want that fight to happen, and I don't mind saying it publicly, and I know that I'll probably get some backlash. Maricela has refused offers from Clarissa Shields, but the reason that was because she was in negotiations with Golden Boy.
Okay.
When you're in negotiations with Golden Boy, you can't just take a fight, you know. So now Maricela's not handling her own career. Now we have Golden Boy making these decisions, and me personally as a friend, I feel that Clarissa should build up her career a little bit more, and Maricela should as well fight tougher opponents and make this fight like in a year. Like in a year, because right now it's not going to make as much money as it will later.
Yeah.
So as it is, female boxing doesn't pay well. So why not promote it a little bit more so it could benefit both of them?
Yeah, good point. Well, I feel, like I said, Sinisa Estrada was here sparring yesterday, and you know, if you prime those fights just right, they can make big money, and they could lead into other big fights for female boxing. And I mean, that's a fight with, you know, Marlena Esparza and Estrada, and then Clarissa Shields versus Cornejo. Those
Great
are
fights
those are great
with
fights.
Golden Boy.
Yeah, and whether they're a female match or male match, those are just really good boxing fights, no
Yeah.
matter what. So I'm excited to see those. But yeah, you bring
With
up a great.
Sanisa and Marlon, who would be the A side and who would be the B side?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I wonder. I wonder, but I do want to congratulate Marlon has a new team, and she has Sam Contreras, who managed Cesar Diaz,
Okay.
who passed away in November. I don't know if you guys remember. Cesar
No.
Diaz from Golden Boy, he passed away in a car accident. Great manager, great trainer. I think he's gonna really help Marlon's career a lot.
Right. Yeah. Well, but she's with Golden Boy as well, right?
Yeah, they both are. That's
Okay.
why.
But she's been they've been fighting her out here recently, right?
Yes.
And I guess to build up more of a fan base out here, because she's originally from Texas.
Oh yeah, she's from
Okay.
Houston, and Sanisa was ringside in her last fight.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
If you're a fan, you've got to check out their Instagram smack talking back and forth. It's
I
been
haven't
really
seen
good.
too much from Marlon. Her brother just passed away a couple
Oh.
months ago in a car accident as well. So I felt it was a little too soon for her to be bashed that way. But maybe I'm a little bit more sensitive than the average boxing fan. But I felt it was wrong timing to be blowing her up like that. But a fight between them will be great. They're both great fighters, and I know they want it. And then Sulem Urbina, who's the same weight class, who fought last night. It was a no contest because of a headbutt, is also in that division. Great fight. But then all three of them, whoever wins, is going to have to face Kenya Enriquez, who is a very, very tough fight. She fights next weekend.
Awesome.
She's the WBC world champion right now.
Yeah, I definitely got to catch that
Yeah.
that fight.
Yeah,
That'll be good.
so first we got to see who wins between them and see who can compete against Kenya.
Yeah. All right.
All
Sounds
right.
good to me.
Yeah.
I'm good fights coming up, you know.
A lot of
in,
good fights.
in women's boxing. I'm excited.
Well, this weekend, don't forget Magdaleno versus Dogbo.
All right.
Great fight.
All right.
Yeah, I've seen Jesse. I've seen him spar several times. He's the fastest guy I've ever seen.
Really?
He's the fast. I've seen a lot of fast fighters
Yeah.
on TV in person, but in the ring, fastest guy I've ever seen. He got off like 5 punches in a second.
If you guys have a chance, watch Under the Hand Wraps on YouTube. I don't know if you guys know Lena and Albert Baker. They have this channel. It's amazing. But they posted a piece yesterday on Jesse Magdaleno, and he's crying on there.
Oh, really?
Oh,
It's
really?
a great piece. Check it out. It's Under the Hand Wraps.
I just heard of that the other day. I'll have to check that out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Under the Hand Wraps
I'll watch it.
on YouTube.
Yeah.
Watch it,
Awesome.
and you get a different side of Jesse.
Yeah, because he's kind of got a bad boy reputation in
Yeah,
boxing.
no bad boy here. Yeah,
Right.
Jesse's a great person.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
All right, man.
Close out the show.
Yeah,
That was great.
it was. Thank you so much for.
That's some inside information.
I
right
know.
there.
I know.
Holy
I feel
smokes.
special.
Yeah, thanks.
Good. Thanks
Thank
so
you,
much for
guys.
coming down. I appreciate it. This is a moment in the show where we generally take to say thank you or shout out for anything. Marco, do you have any shout outs?
Yeah, two real quick.
Go for it.
We lost Vern Troyer, just
Oh,
the
yeah.
entertainer. I know everybody saw, not everybody, but a lot of people saw Austin Powers, and
Yeah.
first time you saw Mini Me, everybody, everybody thought he was awesome, and sad to see him go. But
Yeah.
hopefully he had a great life. And then other shout out I want to give out too is who's the guy who interviewed Adrian Broner? Like, what's his name?
Jim Gray,
Jim Gray. Yeah, I wanted to say.
well done.
Well done to Jim Gray for keeping your patience and I don't know, just going through that whole interview, post-fight interview with Adrian Broner,
I know.
not like choking him or slapping him
Yeah.
Like
or
Larry
going
Merchant.
crazy.
Yeah, like Larry
Yeah,
Merchant.
that's what I said. Larry Merchant would have done. Larry Merchant would have done
If I
something.
was 50 years
yeah,
younger.
exactly. But good job, Jim Gray, and
Yeah.
that's my shout-outs for this weekend.
Great. I'm just
You got
going to
any?
give, shout out to one of my roommates, Devin. It's his birthday today. Happy birthday, buddy.
All right, happy birthday,
Yeah.
Devin.
Anybody you want to thank,
Nancy?
recognize?
I want you guys to follow our WBC Cares page because we do a lot of community. I haven't talked about it. I didn't get a chance to talk about the community things we do, but this month is autism awareness, and I don't know if you guys saw all the fighters last night had a patch that had a puzzle piece on it with gloves. It was
Yeah.
a puzzle,
Oh, wow.
puzzle piece. So, support your local autism awareness charity. Anything you can do, and follow WBC Cares because we do events all over the world.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you so much for being here. We
Thank you for
appreciate
Thank
it.
you,
me.
Nancy.
Of
Appreciate
course.
it.
Thank you, guys. See you
All
next
right,
time.
we're out.
We're out.
Peace.